Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. So my name's Namdi, and I'm sure the others are going to be joining shortly.
Sure.
Yeah, where are you based?
Uh, right here in New York City,
Okay,
right in the middle of the
okay.
madness. In the middle of the madness.
Is that where you born and raised there?
Born and raised in Brooklyn. Yes, yes. The whole
Okay.
crew, the whole crew, full force, UTFO, the whole crew, Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. I mean, for you, I mean, people have been asking whether you're related to Bow-Legged Lou or any of the guys.
No, no. I met them. I met them when I was like eight, 8, 9, 10. Yeah,
Okay.
they moved on. They moved on to my block, man. So we've been like brothers, since I was
Okay.
little.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
We've got is it Mystina?
Mystina.
Okay, she just joined in. How you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, doing good. I'm just checking your sound. Are you also in New York as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering if somehow your sound just seems a little fainted, so I don't know
Oh, hold on one second.
if
It sounds faded. Hold on.
yeah.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Um oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it seems to be okay, okay. It feels as if there's a wash machine when you talk. I don't know.
You know what?
Oh, is that the air condition? Okay.
It's so hot here.
Okay, sounds better now. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so I guess it's just Alex left to join, but as I said, I got you guys in early and stuff. But yeah, okay. So I hadn't done this stuff for about a month. And when Norm got in touch with me, I was Jim. Oh, I've been in the middle of my 5 weeks hiatus. I've been so I work as a therapist with children's men and children's therapists, and
Whoa.
it has been so busy and then also I think I was doing probably 3 interviews in a week. So
Wow.
just before I could see myself having a breakdown, I had to just shut down. I think that the last week of
Sure,
July,
sure.
and I
Yeah.
hadn't planned to start again until September. But when Norm contacted me when I was still away, and I said, okay, so but this is it's definitely good. I'm glad he did so. Um,
So you have a real job, an adult job.
yeah. Yes, yeah. So yeah, I work with I work with children between actually from 5 to 21, and
Wow.
as a therapist, so yeah, depression, anxiety,
Wow.
things like that. Yes, but
Wow.
yes, but I mean, okay. Before I could join in, and I'm glad you guys have come. I can probably start off with yourself, Mystina, and just to see your background and where you were born and raised.
Well, I was born and raised in New York, Long Island in particular.
Is that where the iced tea comes from? The drink.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I guess it's pretty popular overseas.
Yes, yes. It was the cheapest way to get drunk, just get a Long Island iced
Oh,
tea.
we're a cheap date. Long Island, we're a cheap date. Much.
Okay. So growing up in Long Island, how did you get into singing?
Well, I mean, singing is just like music, period. It's just something that's deeply rooted in my culture as a Boricua. So it's like
Okay.
all sides of my family, we're so knee deep in music, but for the most part, nobody really took it like as a profession, because it's like, who did that back then? Like nobody was encouraged to really take that on seriously, especially if you're providing for a family. So, but music was with me every single day. My dad would roll out his amplifier. He used to have this humongous Fender amp that was bigger than I was, and he would just blast his songs every day, just playing guitar and singing and all sorts of karaoke tapes. And then my mom would always join in because, she had to join in on everything my dad was doing. So if he was doing it, she was going to do it too. And basically, it was just like music every single day. And naturally, of course, I've always had a knack and affliction towards it. So.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned something that you probably most people in New York probably knew about, but I think because we've got an international audience, you mentioned being a Boricua or something.
Boricua.
Boricua. Yeah, so what exactly is that?
Boricua is a Puerto Rican with indigenous roots.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
you know where Puerto Rico is?
Yes, I believe so. It's next. I mean, we know it being next to Haiti, and we know it's one of the
Right.
U.S. states.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, it's not a state; it's a colony of the U.S.
Okay.
But it's in the Caribbean with like Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba. It's in there. It's in the Greater Antilles, and yeah, and where we get Boricua
Mhm.
from is essentially from the Tainos that lived there, that populated the whole place, pretty much all the islands, pretty much. But in that particular island was called Borinquen, and that pretty much stayed, and then of course the Spaniards just had to come ruin the party, and but there's a lot of us who definitely have strong indigenous roots, and we still recognize our Taino heritage very much so.
Okay. And I guess it'd be interesting because, as I said, international audience, there seems to be a lot of sort of cultural relationships with sort of Black community. Um,
Mhm.
being, I guess how would you identify when it comes to Black culture? Is that something that is separate, or is something that was woven into you growing up?
Definitely, that was something woven into me. I love this question because, especially being someone of Puerto Rican descent, when we came from the islands, because my parents are born there, but when a whole bunch of us came to the mainland, especially in New York, like we found ourselves like, where do we fit, And when we came like in the 40s and the 50s, we were treated like Black Americans. We were treated
Mm,
like, oh, put those next to those and it was just like, we were living side by side with each other. We were redlined the same way, and and culturally, like our culture is like a mixture of like three things of the Spaniard, the West African, and of course the indigenous. And of course, the West African side definitely pops out in Puerto Rican culture,
mm,
because it's like it's just something that historically we the enslaved ran away and started their own towns and all that kind of stuff. But and naturally, just cultivated for the most part, where the island just kind of like were picking up each other's cultures and stuff like that. And then once we got to the U.S., it's like it's just weird because the white people just be looking at us like, we don't know how to categorize you. This is weird. Like, you don't have a problem with this Black person. That's weird. But you kind of look Black yourself, and we don't know what to make of this. So in the U.S., it's just a mess. It's a mess. Like, they just love racial categories to the umpteenth, And so when it comes to Black culture, I think Puerto Ricans, we we're in a very interesting setup because we're Black adjacent and we're also white adjacent, if culturally speaking. So it's like it depends on what kind of Boricua you are. Do you want to go with the Italians and be a little more white, or are you comfortable with the Black Americans and you feel like culturally you're okay with Black culture and all that kind of stuff? So it's weird, but for me personally, it was just like easy, I guess, for me to just kind of inch more to Black culture because I'm just like, well, I don't know. Like my sensibilities, I feel was just more
Mm.
that anyway. So yeah, it
Okay.
it, it it's
It's
it's in
the it's the melting pot of America.
out of
It's the
America.
melting pot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Mike, I mean, I guess you can shed some light growing up in Brooklyn. What was the relationship from your point of view with those from Puerto Rico when growing up?
Oh, my relationship with all cultures, growing up in Brooklyn is like where I grew up in Brooklyn. They called it third world. Where I
Mm.
grew up in Brooklyn, it was Jamaicans, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, everything where I grew up. So that's why musically, you got to hear and experience everything. So we went to parties and you heard everything. And so people growing up, people would ask me, "Oh, you know how to dance that? Are you from there?" I said, "No, I'm from America, but I know how to dance it all. I know how to play it all. I know how to sing it all because I grew up in that mixture of Brooklyn, where everyone was intermingling, and that's how we all learned each other's music, and that's how the music meld into what it is. The music that we play and listen to are such a mix.
Mm.
So it's a mixture of everything.
And so they would, because I know that I've interviewed quite a number from New York, and during the 80s when there was a lot of tension, and was there ever, from your point of view, any tensions with those who were, say, from Puerto Rico, or did everyone feel as if we're doing discriminated the same way, so we need to bond together?
Oh, it was everything. I mean, we partied together, but
Mm.
of course there was but of course there was always, depending on who you with, and in the '80s there were more gangs,
Oh.
so of course you come across a gang, you know what I mean? Whether it be a Puerto Rican gang or a black gang or, a white gang, you come across a gang, you know, you're gonna get a rub, you're gonna get trouble. So, but in the clubs and the music scene, it was always a mixture of everything. So everyone mixed together and we played together, and that's how a band was formed, what I mean, in the mid '80s. What I mean? Me, Alex is black and German, and Lisa at the time Puerto Rican, but that's how the mix was,
At the time,
from
she
you
ain't Puerto Rican no more.
yeah from from UTFO, yeah, Kango is from Haiti, and so the neighborhoods were always so mixed that we hung out together. We played together, we partied together, but then there's always a rub because there's always some tensions between people, certain factors, things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I always find it interesting because when I was a kid, I went to a private Catholic school, right? And it was really the first time that I started to understand race, like, and racism, because most of the other kids, they were like Irish Catholic or Italian or, and it was it was very interesting because there were also some Black Caribbean kids there. And yeah, I got bullied by other kids, regardless if they were Black or white. But it was strange because with the Black kids, I never felt like, I don't know, I never felt like I was bullied because of like who I was. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, it's a very weird thing. Like, it's a weird feeling to get between bullying between, in where I was, between the Black kids and white kids. The white kids, it was like more psychological. And it was definitely like, you're like, we don't know how to categorize you kind of thing. And, it's just them basically like not being used to, seeing someone or being with somebody who's different, who's like culturally different, who looks different from them and all that kind of stuff. But obviously like the Black kids, I mean, they're around everybody. They're around like all sorts of people every single day. It's not just other Black kids that they're around. So it wasn't like I was getting bullied because I'm Puerto Rican, or, because of anything like that. It was just more like, little stupid petty nonsense. So I
Bullying
work,
for bullying's sake.
Yeah.
Bullying for bullying's sake. Yeah. You're
but
small. You're
but
small. We want to bully you.
yeah, but they were like more direct about, like the black kids were more direct about it, about like what was pissing them off. Meanwhile, the white kids just like, they would never like say, oh, it's because you look like this, or it's because whatever kind of like nonsense that they've been raised with. It's just a very different experience. So even in the midst of all of that, I always still had an affinity, more so, especially with the Black Caribbean community, because I'm like, I know you guys, I still know it's all love. Like, I still know it's all love, and that like we're culturally very similar. So it's not like,
Yeah, and I think I think part of the reasons for trying to understand culturally how you guys in New York grew up is because when we look at Cult Jam, even when Lisa was there, it might seem normal for you guys that okay, um, somebody's black, somebody's mixed race, somebody's Puerto Rican, but we love music. But for those of us outside, it was like, oh, that doesn't. We're not used to that. We're used to Motown giving us okay, all black men, all black women, or sometimes the mix. So I guess trying to understand how culturally you guys grew up, where actually color didn't seem to make a difference. It's just about the passion and the music. So that's a big reasons why asking these kind of questions sort of
Yeah.
help the international to try and get a picture and understand the history of the group.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, music is always a common love, and that's what brings us together. And then your music, when you play out, when you start to write music, all your influences comes to play. You know what I mean? All your influences, all your Caribbean influences, all your R&B, or your jazz, or all that comes into the music. So that's why you get a nice eclectic sound of music. It's not just the music is not just R&B. It's not just pop music. It's a mixture of everything. It has a little Latin feel, and it has a little Caribbean feel, has dance and funk and R&B and jazz, it feels like everything.
Yeah. I mean, okay, Mike, just starting with you, because you mentioned just as we're starting off that Bo, I've interviewed Bo, I think during the lockdown. And he talks about, you guys and UTFO, and I think Kango King had not just before he passed, so he was just talking about the family. But from your point of view, how did you said you were 8 when they moved in? So these three big
Yeah,
brothers joined it, moved into the neighborhood. What was that
yeah.
like?
They moved into the neighborhood, and my first meeting with Bo Legaloo, he challenged me into the robot. If you remember the robot,
Yeah.
it's before breakdancing. It's when Michael Jackson used to do the robot,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
he had
yeah.
dance. Yeah. And so that's where I learned it from, watching Michael Jackson. And so the way I met Bo Legaloo, he walked up to me and said, "Someone said you were good at the robot," and he challenged me. And he was like 4 years older than me too. But that's where we actually met. And then from then on, I started hanging out with him and his brothers. B-Fine was the closest to me in age, so
Mhm.
we hung out the most. And we played everything. We played football, basketball. We played all the kids' games growing up. And so when they were putting together a band, it was, always my love, from early seeing Michael Jackson and Jackson 5, and seeing James Brown when I was 5, to be in a band. So when they started putting together a band, they said, "Yo, Mike, you want to, join us?" I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great." So, they taught me all the ropes about putting together a band and being in a band and practicing and doing shows and everything. I learned all of that from them.
Okay, I mean, how did you get your percussions? Because I think for those, and when Lisa and Culture, when you guys came out back in the 80s, I was going to boarding school in Nigeria, and everyone had to use the desk to try and do the dum. So
Yeah.
but how did you learn the percussions? I mean,
Wow. During their rehearsals, I would play drums. Um, I just found that I was good at it. I was good at keeping rhythm, keeping time, and then uh, well, to be in a band, I had to play an instrument. So I had my mom for Christmas buy me a set of congas. So I had my first set of congas, and I was practicing congas and practicing drums. Sometimes B-Fine would get off the drums, and he would do things out in front with the two brothers. So I would play drums, and then when he got back on drums, I'd go back to congas. So yeah, I grew up learning to play, those percussion instruments. Yeah,
okay.
and then of course in
Go
school,
ahead. Mhm.
in school, in junior high school and high school, I played in the bands in junior high school and high school. I learned more stuff, learning to play, learning to read in school and everything. So yeah, it was just a childhood of playing lots of percussion, lots of drums, and it was in my heart. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
Okay, so at that time, was the idea to become a band just, I mean, how many of you could I know that were there cousins around, or was it just you
Right,
and
right. We formed a band, and we were playing, block parties. The summertime they have block parties, and it was just uh the two cousins, Jerry Jr., Kurt, B Fine, and me. And so we were practicing, and the two older brothers, would occasionally stop in and see what we sounded like, because they were like, well, if you guys sound good enough, you guys can back us, we could do shows. And so we practiced and practiced more. And then the two brothers joined us, and that was the first creation of Full Force. So I was actually one of the members of Full Force from the very beginning. I was a seventh member. Um, and then we started doing shows all over town. We opened up for bands like GQ and Crown Heights Affair, in Brooklyn. And then they met a manager named Steve Salem and said, "Okay, I'm gonna get you guys a recording contract. You guys got to get serious, and we're gonna have to let the kid go." So I was dropped from the band by their manager.
Oh, he said,
Yeah,
"Let
let the kid go.
oh, why was that?
Well, I guess they felt I wasn't serious enough. I was a kid. I was the youngest, and I was running around still.
Okay.
So they just felt I wasn't serious enough. So
But were
they
you
dropped me from it.
when you look back though, just reflecting back, do you think you weren't as committed at that time?
I was, I was, but by the time they started the recording contract, I think I was 13, 14. So
Okay.
yeah,
you were really young."
yeah, yeah. So I was really young. So, but I mean, I still work with the band. I was a roadie. I played with them on stage. So I mean, I was still a member. I was still, a seventh member of the group. Through their record contracts and everything. So that's why, I always had first look at everything that they were doing, everything that they were producing. I was always around. I was always there for it. I was always learning. So that's why when I got my opportunity, when they wrote "I Wonder If I Take You Home" and said we want to put a female out singing this song, I was like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna put a band together, and could you make that our song?" And so that's why they gave me first dibs at doing that. So
Okay.
I was able
Okay.
to put together a band, and that's how "I Wonder If I Take You Home" and CultJam came about.
Okay. So, I mean, so how did you meet up? Alex, well, how did you meet up with Alex?
Well, by that time I was in high school. I was a senior in high school, and that summer or right before summer, I used to leave school early and go up to Baruch College. It's a college in Manhattan, and they had the greatest parties at this college. Great parties. And so we used to leave school early and go to these parties and party with the college kids. And one of the guys DJing the party was a friend of ours. And he used to DJ and we used to rap for him. And he used to DJ. And while I was there, a friend of his named Alex, I saw him playing piano in the piano room. They had a piano room in the college. And I walked in, I watched this guy playing piano with girls around him. He was, playing jazz and all this stuff. I said, wow, this guy's great.
Sounds like
I put together a band. I want this guy to be in my band. And this is before the song came. This is before they all happened. I just had it in my mind that if I ever put together a band, this is the guy I want. So I think it was probably maybe 6 months or 8 months later that they hit me with this song and that they said they were going to do this. So I already had Alex in my mind. So it was meant to be. It really was meant to be that I met him, and that I kept that in my mind. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm putting together a band. Full Force has this song. Would you be interested? It was like humming and hollering because he was playing with the band already. He was playing with a band with a guitar player named Vernon Reed, and that band ended up being Living Color.
Okay.
But Alex was the bass player for Living Color.
Wow.
But at the time they were on hiatus. Vernon was going on tour and playing with other people. So I said, Alex, come and play with us. Let's record this song. He said, okay, let's see what you got. So I said, okay, I need a singer. So I put the word out in the clubs I used to hang out in Manhattan, the Spanish clubs, that I'm looking for a singer, possibly Puerto Rican, good looking, of course, that's what we wanted, because we had to compete with the Madonnas, and the Shannons and people like that. So we had to come correct. It had to be a girl that looked great and sounded good. So a friend of mine introduced me to this girl. He said, I got this girl for you. He brought her to Brooklyn. I met her. She sang for me and Alex, and we loved her. And I took the whole project to Full Force. I said, hey, I got a band. It's called CultJam. And we recorded this song, and that's what we did. We recorded that song, and then we went back to work. We recorded the song, and then that was that. We all went back to work. I was working in a clothing store. Alex was playing with bands at weddings. And Lisa was working at the Gap, I think. So we all went back to work after recording the song. And later on that year, that song started playing on the radio in New York, and that was the end.
Okay.
The beginning. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think my brain works differently because I want to go back to the part that you mentioned. You needed a singer. You're saying that both you and Alex couldn't sing. It was just you were musicians.
Yeah. Oh, we needed a female vocalist because the song was written for, if you know the lyrics to "I Wonder If I Take You Home."
Yeah.
It was written for a woman.
But just the fact, but
so
because even though you were the guys at Full Force, you never learned to sing yourself.
Yeah, but not a lead. Not a
Okay.
lead. No. We knew we needed to be fronted by someone that was gonna represent us and be strong, and that's what we went after.
Yeah, I mean, which is admirable because most people who form bands is like, well, I'm going to take a verse or two, and others will join me, and they don't want to be left out. So that's why I'm surprised that actually you actually had the opportunity and you thought actually I'm not as strong. It'd be great to get others on.
Oh yes. I mean, I the band concept is something that I was already involved in. Full Force. I loved Cameo. I loved Shalimar. I loved Parliament Funkadelic. I loved Earth and Fire. The band thing, everyone contributing, everyone being strong, that was already, something that I wanted to be a part of. So, I mean, if it was up to me, I'd have brought in 5 other people. You know what I mean? But, the three of us was a good start. And of course, we go on the road and we have strong bands when we go on the road. So it's always that band feel, that family feel. We go on the road and we play together and we basically live together on the road,
Yeah. What about the name CultJam? How did you come up with the name?
So the clubs that we were going to at the
The
time,
clubs.
again, a mixture of Spanish, black, white, mixed clubs. Uh, the thing about that would make this club special was the DJ would play songs that weren't played on the radio. He would play songs that were B-sides, you know, things like that, you know, like Just Begun, Jimmy Castor Bunch. Wow.
There was
just
such a
very,
I can remember.
yeah, just various B-sides that he would play. War, City Country City. You don't even know that. City Country City by War. You got to look that up. It's a great song, and it's 10 minutes long. And he would play that. He played things like that. Jazz songs. He would play, you know, Herb Alpert. He would play jazz stuff, but with funky beats. So this is like the beginning of breakdance music.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because this is the kind of music that you would dance to and jump around and jump on the floor and do stuff like that. This is the way we danced back in the 80s. Do splits on the floor, do backflips, do handstands, you know. So this was the beginning of break, you know, and this is the type of music that he would play. And we always said these are great cult jams, man. These, what kind of stuff do you play? What kind of stuff this did he play? Oh, he played some dope cult jams. And they were cult jams, you know. And so when we DJ'd, we were the CultJam crew. You know, me and Jerry and Junior from Full Force, we were the CultJam crew, and we would play these cult jams, you know. And so it was a given that the name of my band was going to be CultJam.
Okay.
You know, because
Okay.
that was the name I came up with. So I even monikered myself Mike CultJam Hughes. You know what I mean? Because CultJam is me. You know what I mean? That's something that I loved and I made up, and that's what I love and stand for. You know, and that's how the band came up with the name CultJam. That's how we pushed the name. Yeah.
So the second question was, why specifically finding Lisa as opposed to a black female singer?
Oh wow. I think because we were thinking about Madonna, and we were thinking about Shannon, and we were thinking about MTV, and we would think, you know, all of those things come into play, like, you know, where we're gonna get played, who's gonna play us, you know, a lot of that comes into play, especially in the 80s, you know. MTV just started playing black music at that time, because before that time they weren't. So Michael Jackson just started getting played, because, you know, Michael Jackson made MTV play him. Columbia Records made that happen. And then Prince started getting played. So in order, you know, you have to think like that. Actually think like, you know, not just creating good music, but actually getting seen and being liked by a wider variety of audience. So that was part of our thing as well.
I mean, this is something that I guess in the 90s, also big labels are doing so. I know Tommy Mottola was big into the image, not just the music. But
Right.
I'm really fascinated that. How old are you at this time when you started the group?
When I started the group, I was 21.
Okay, but normally you'd probably get a manager and a label saying, "Okay, for us to really invest in you guys, this is what we're looking for." You think you're speaking on something that makes sense, but I'm just wondering how. Wow, this
Full Force.
really. Okay, so
Full Force were thinking ahead. Full
Okay.
Force were thinking ahead. Yes, because they already had UTFO. They had themselves. They knew they wanted to widen their audience.
Okay.
You know, they wanted to widen the audience.
Okay.
Widen the audience, not widen the audience.
Widen. Yeah, no widen. Yeah.
But you know, but hey, you know what I mean? It's part of it's you know, the music was mixed. You know what I mean? So let the group be mixed as well. You know, so It was good for the part of image, and good for the sound, and good for the audiences that we were trying to reach.
And also, as well, there was, Latin freestyle music was really blowing up in the 80s. And Latin freestyle was predominantly Latinos that were doing
Right.
it.
Right.
So, and when, as far as I know, the first like couple of hits that CultJam had, it was very much in the Latin freestyle market.
Right.
So I think with those songs in that sense, they, also probably thinking like, oh, we need, somebody who could like really exemplify the fun of freestyle music and, but have a little soul at the same time, because that's what
Yeah.
Lisa's giving, it had the Latino thing, but it had a little bit of that American soul to it too, a little bit to her voice, that kind of, I think, made her sound a little bit different than other Latin freestyle artists, and I have so much respect for the other freestyle artists, but you could tell like they were they had a very strong accent, and it's like, oh, why did you have to change on me? And it was like very, very like Puerto Rican Brooklyn kind of thing, and like Lisa edged it a little bit. It was like that at times, but then like she'd edge it back a little bit and it would be a little more soulful. So it's just kind of cool, I think, how that all came to be. But I think most importantly, it's like it shows that you can be Latino, but you don't have to sing in Spanish. You can sing in English, and I think that kind of opened up even more opportunities because that wasn't usual. I mean, in some ways, it still is not usual. They always want Spanish, but
It really made, it made our music cross over. Our music really hit upon so many different genres. So it wasn't just R&B. It wasn't just freestyle, and it wasn't just pop. You know what I mean? And that's why our audiences were really diverse, and that's why we were able to play many different countries and get played on many different types of radio. Because the music and the group was really that diverse.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it
we
was,
weren't pigeonholed. We wasn't pigeonholed, held in one category. It like, like a group like in our type like us, like Loose Ends.
yeah,
You know,
from here in the UK.
Loose Ends in America is basically R&B. You know what I mean? They don't get pop radio play. They didn't get pop radio play in America. We got pop radio play, Head to Toe, Lost in Emotion, stuff like that. But Loose Ends, I love that group, and I think their songs are just great songs. But they were put in an R&B category here, in America, and that's where they are. They were pigeonholed to that category. You know what I mean? And that's what could happen to you. You can people, especially record labels. That's what record labels did back then. You know what I mean? Because they would have just people that promoted to just one type of radio. So when you went into meetings with the record label, you'd meet with just the people that are going to promote you with just. So you came into, when we went to meet with Columbia Records, we meet with the R&B department, and no one from the pop department. It's like, so they're talking about promoting us but like, shouldn't it be versatile? But no, that's what would happen. You know what I mean? And it would take the record would do something, and then okay, they're getting a pop audience. So then they call someone in from pop radio and say, can you get them played on Z100 or those stations, So it's really the labels really did the boxing of artists, and that's that was always a negative spin on record labels, especially back in the days. And that's what a lot of people feel right now with indie. Everyone's independent, that you can just forget the genres. You're just an artist.
Yeah, just
You're
making
not
music.
you're not just a dance artist or just an R&B artist. Just you're whatever. You know what I mean? And people from whatever can stream your music on on whatever genre. As long as they hear you, they can stream you. So it's not just because you were pop.
Yeah.
So that's that was a negative bash on the record labels back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably still they still did that. But was Lisa the first sort of Puerto Rican Latin success, or was who else? You know, just thinking about that, was she the first one to have
Well,
worldwide success, not
well, we would be
singing in English?
well, we were before Gloria Estefan, but Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine, she grew up they grew up really big. Our song came out before them, but yeah, Gloria Estefan. Who else?
Sheila E. Sheila
Sheila
E.
E. She came later with Prince. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there definitely were a few that came and happened, since us.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, when the song came out, I was, as I said, I was in boarding school in Nigeria, and when interview American artists and I tell them about when a song goes global, I think Elder Barge was telling me that Motown never told him how successful the Barge was outside of America.
Outside of
Uh,
America, yeah.
yeah, but so when I Wonder If I Take You Home came out, it was big in America, yes, big around Europe. It was big around many countries in Africa, so Nigeria as well, where
Didn't know
everyone,
that. I
oh,
didn't know that.
oh yeah, no, it was a massive, massive. I mean, so we think
Wow.
about that song, I remember Stevie had his part-time lover, but for that us, the competition was, can you try and do the beat on the desk? How do how do you kind of make the beats on the table and stuff?
Yeah.
And I think the visual of a girl with her hair with one eye and it was really fascinating. But did you know when you first heard the song that, oh, this is going to be a massive global hit, or what was?
No, when we heard the song, we knew that we can imagine it getting played in the clubs that we go to.
Okay,
And
this
that's
will
what
be
the thinking
just
is,
be a cloud
like,
jam.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh man, they're gonna love this back at the club. They're gonna love this. And that's the way you think, you know what I mean? Luckily there are people that think bigger than us because we're artists, you know what I mean? And record labels and things like that, they think bigger. But and in our minds, like, oh, they're gonna love this in the clubs, we're gonna be a club hit and we're gonna play the clubs and we're gonna be famous, in the clubs, and that's and funny. So when the song was released on it because we were on an independent label first, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're shipping this to England. It's going to be on a breakdance album in London." We're like, "Really? Okay." And we saw the cover, these breakers. Like, okay, that's our song, and it's in London. It's in Europe. And then some DJs started playing it here on the radio station. They said, "Oh, we have an import from Europe, from London. Lisa and CultJam." Like, no, it's not an import. We're from here. But the song that they were playing was the import. They were playing the import. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So it wasn't until Columbia Records said, "Oh yeah, the song is big. Let us release the American 12-inch." And then that's when it really blew up here in America. But yeah, it came back to America as an import from England.
Did it surprise you how big it went globally, though? Did it, because it was bigger than Full Force's anything that they put out.
Oh, only when we toured. Only when they said, "Okay, we're shipping you guys off to tour London and Japan and these places." Were like, really? Are they listening to us there? And even when you see the charts and like, okay, but when you get there and you're in front of an audience, from another country, and they know all the words and they're just partying and dancing, that lets you know, wow, we really came far, from Brooklyn. Here we are, having, you know, the Hammersmithsonian, whatever, these crowds in Japan where they don't even speak English, but yet they
Yeah.
say, "Oh, one day if I take you home," you know, it's that's when it really blows your mind. That's when it blows your mind.
Whose idea was it to have? Lisa and CultJam. I mean,
That was done by the manager at the time, Steve Salem. He felt that it would accentuate the female, because that's, like I said, we would kind of compete with Madonna and
mm,
Shannon and all of those. So he said, well, let's put Lisa, let's feature her, and Lisa was a name that they kept throwing around, calling her more than once. Lisa, Lisa, and that was catchy. That was catchy, So they decided to go with
It's so
Lisa.
funny because the way that she describes it in a previous
She
interview,
described, yes.
they just looking at her. They're looking at her assets. Okay, they were just like Lisa, Lisa.
Lisa. Yeah, yeah. I mean, because when she first came to us, Lisa, Lisa being 2 years younger than me, she was just barely 18. So when she came to us in audition and kept coming back to record, she was mostly like in a sweatshirt and stuff like that. So those assets weren't shown yet. It wasn't until the fashion designer Patricia Fields dressed her for "I Wonder If I Take You Home" and put her in a bustier that everyone was like, "Wow, you are Lisa."
Wait a second.
And that's how.
This is like full circle moment for me because every time that I dress up, I used to buy Patricia Field stuff
Patricia
all
Fields.
the
Patricia
time.
Fields.
Hey,
Patricia Fields. Hey, Patricia Fields was our designer. She dressed Alex.
That is
She dressed
crazy.
Alex.
I
She
buy
dressed
her
Lisa.
stuff all the time. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was meant to be Soul Jam eventually. I was
ah,
meant to be eventually.
Alex always sees your big head. Bring the camera down.
Okay.
how low you want it?
Okay. Welcome, Alex.
What's up?
Yeah, it's going well. Yes. We did start about 50 minutes ago, but I'm glad you joined us.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, no,
You know,
no,
you
no.
know, to tell you the truth, we're all still in the grind. You know what I mean? We love what we do. Code Jam almost is a new project. We have a history, but yet Code Jam is a new project. And we're really still on the grind of coming up. To a lot of the industry, we're being treated like a new group, a new band. And so doors are not opening easily for us. So we still have to hustle. And we're still in the middle of our hustle. Code Jam is a band that's in the hustle, like I was 21 again. And like I said, we have a history, but yet a lot of the industry are looking at us like a new band and treating us like a new band. So we're still actually each individually in our own grind to stay, to keep ourselves going as well as promote this group as culture. That's the
Yeah.
reality. That's the reality.
Yeah. I mean, now that Alex has joined in,
Yes.
where were you born and raised, Alex?
Uh, in Africa.
Okay. What part?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I was born in Manhattan, Governor's Island. It's an island right next to Lower Manhattan at an army base.
It's where they keep the prisoners.
Yep,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
pretty much.
Is that where you grew up as well? Were you raised in Manhattan?
No, I was raised in Brooklyn.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Brownsville,
And
Brooklyn.
because Mike
The
was
next
talking
neighborhood,
about,
the next neighborhood over from mine. Yeah.
okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. How did you get into the because you mentioned as seeing you playing pianos and stuff, but how did you get into music? The actual instruments and playing.
Oh man, how did I start from the very beginning? Hanging out with some friends of mine, and they had a neighborhood band, and I used to hang out with the sax player Sydney. Mike knows Sid, and I used to hang out with him, and he started this neighborhood band, and I was there. I didn't know nothing about nothing. I was to play bongos while they rehearsed, and I never considered myself part of the band. But I guess that's my earliest start, like doing that, and then I picked up the bass, and then I started practicing religiously because I found out if I can play certain songs, I can make certain money. So money driven.
All about the money.
Yeah. So I guess that's how that's my earliest start. And my stepfather used to play guitar, a little bit of guitar, play blues. He would invite his friends over to the house, and he would try to force me to play a what he would call a boogie woogie woogie bass line. And, so things like that. That's my earliest start. And then I went on after that to other things.
Before you joined, we were just talking about the cultural diversity of New York, but also how CultJam is a sort of a collective of representing different cultures within New York that have come together for a band, has formed a band. But for yourself, growing up, was there mixture culturally with Puerto Ricans and the blacks, or?
Well, my part in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where I was mostly hanging out and people around and lived in the area, it was predominantly black. It was like maybe like 5% Puerto Rican and 95% black. And I didn't know where I fit in at the time, because I looked Spanish and all kinds of things, so. But I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood. So my mother's white, my father's black. So I came out looking Puerto Rican.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
And actually, that's the thing. I used to think the Barge family were Latino because Chico and.
Oh my God! Listen, you don't know how badly I wanted them to be Puerto Rican, because when I saw The Last Dragon and I saw their music video in The Last Dragon, I was like, yeah. And then in my head, I was like, hope they're Puerto Rican. I hope they're Puerto Rican. Because it's like I don't really get to see the representation on TV. And then I was like,
hey, Mystina, I gotta claim them. They're black and white. I gotta claim them.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, can they at least be Dominican, maybe? But it wasn't even that. They're literally black and white.
hey, you still have menudo.
That's right. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, yo.
Menudo.
Okay.
But I guess it is fascinating to see how the diversity of the group, because I think most of us might have thought Alex was Puerto Rican or Latino because I mean because your hair was curly.
Where are you from? Man?
I was born in England, but my parents are Nigerian.
So I did my ancestry. I'm 28% Nigerian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a big percentage, especially when we factor out it's a big percentage.
Oh yeah.
But how hard was that then? Because Mystina was
growing up with a mixed household.
Yeah, because
it
was
hard.
It was
hard.
The UK is not a problem. It hadn't been a problem, but I wonder how it was for you.
In the 70s, it was definitely hard. It was. I went through a lot to fight. My brothers had to stick up for me, and it was just tough. Well, I had three older brothers and a sister, and one of my brothers was part of a gang, so that kind of helped at the time. And we had a kind of a reputation, so we kind of got respect from certain, roughnecks in the neighborhood growing up.
Yeah.
The UK had its share of problems too. I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
Yeah, I was born in the 70s, 73.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When we were in the UK in the 80s, the UK had its problems with black and white. Matter of fact, we would go out at night. We were on tour, and we would go out at night, and cab drivers would not pick us up. they saw two black guys hanging on a corner waving down cabs, and they would not. The taxi drivers would not pick us up. You know,
Yeah.
and we, we're like,
Yeah.
that was the '80s. That was the '80s. You know.
Yes, I mean, because I was born in Liverpool, and I mean, most people know Liverpool for the Beatles, but Liverpool
Yeah.
used to be the slave trade capital of Europe. So that was where they made their money. So when slavery was abolished, I mean, that hit the economy. But there were a lot of Africans and Caribbean immigrants who settled in Liverpool, and lots of people intermarried. So
didn't they come after the World War II to clean up? Or they imported a lot of people from different countries?
they brought a lot of West Indies in the late 60s, in the late 50s, early 60s, because
it was after the war, though, right?
it was after the war, because they really just the economy, and they just needed able-bodied people. So that was when a lot of the West Indies came across. So yes, they've had their issues with race, and for many years. But I guess it's interesting and I guess one of the challenges when you are mixed race, as we would call them here in the UK, if you're mixed between two cultures, is that it's like where to fit in, especially if your mom is white. A lot of people here, they tend to probably associate a lot more with the white culture if their mom is white. But if their dad is white, the mom is like, okay, they identify more as black. But
it's different in the United States.
Okay.
Well, it's very interesting, I find, because like I have I've known people who are biracial, and it's a way different raising if depending on whether the mom's white or black.
Yeah.
So very raising. So like I happen to find, like, if the mom is white, like her biracial kids have more opportunity than if the mom was black and she has a biracial child. Like it's like very interesting how society interacts with these kinds of so you can have a kid who's biracial, but it all depends like how they look at life and how they go through life might be different than the next biracial child depending on who the mom is.
Yeah. But I wondered, did the group's multicultural background ever become something that they really used to celebrate CultJam? Because knowing the group, knowing you guys now, it's fascinating. I'm like, wow, look at how diverse you guys are culturally, the three of you. But I was wondering if that was ever something that was promoted and celebrated, back in the 80s and the 90s, or was it?
It was a little. It started to become more common in the '80s. At that time. Even bands like the Thompson Twins. Boy George and Culture Club. Bands like that with mixed bands were just becoming more popular because it was part of that whole new wave punk dance scene. You know what I mean? Everyone was being creative, hairstyles, different color hair, different color people, androgynous looking, everyone, in the '80s, everything just started blossoming, people were just experimenting on everything. So groups were mixed like that, culturally, musically, the sounds were being mixed, a band would sound, band would be a pop band, but they sound dance, This would be a pop band, but they're doing dance songs, So it was always a nice mixture during the '80s, and that came into the '90s. I think later on in the '90s, it started separating again, where it was R&B, it was hip hop, it started separating again. But in the '80s, with Prince and with Michael Jackson, everything was, people were so mixed and diverse, the DeBarge and their family, everybody was.
It was a very colorful time.
It was a very colorful time. Yeah, exactly.
But the way you guys are now, are you using that to promote and celebrate your diversity? Because as I said, you know, as I said, I wasn't really. It's really fascinating to hear you guys speak of your mixed heritage among the three of you. But do you even make that an issue now, or you don't even try and
No,
Didn't
no,
give
it's
it
not even.
didn't give it much
Yeah,
thought.
yeah, it's not giving much thought these days. Yeah, yeah. I mean, in wow, things are so different. I mean, at one time, the only time people saw you was when you came out with a music video. That was
Mm,
the only time you ever get seen. So now, you know, everything is so out there. You know what I mean? Because of the internet.
yeah.
Everything is everyone and everything is just so out there.
That's right.
So music. Nothing is new anymore, and it
Yeah.
actually is hard. It's hard to be different now because really nothing is new. You're
Yeah.
seeing everything at one time.
Yeah.
You're looking at your phone and you're seeing everything and everyone
Everything.
in one
Everything and anything.
in a couple of swipes on your phone. You're seeing all styles, all looks,
Yeah.
Yep.
everything, all types of music. So it's really hard to be different these days, actually.
Before I get to Alex to ask him how he felt, becoming a global superstar with the success of the songs, Mystina, for yourself, how was it in later years listening to Lisa and well, Cult Jam and the songs, and actually seeing someone looking and like you in Lisa, when I'm sure when you've eventually heard the song.
So I know you were kind of coming in and out a little bit, but I think you're asking what it felt like to see somebody like Lisa.
Yeah, growing up, I mean, especially when yeah.
It was great because she just reminded me of my cousins. She reminded me of my own family, and we're just, at the time, it's like especially Puerto Ricans, like we just didn't have that kind of representation where we could just be like just us, and be really like I don't want to say stereotypical, but like just really Puerto Rican, And she like the first image that you see of her, it really is striking because it's like, oh yeah, like she just stands firm and she got just a little bit of sass, just a little bit of that attitude, that New York Boricua attitude, and but she's like a lady at the same time, And it was just something that I always resonated with, especially with her style of singing. It's just very like I just felt like it was her. Like she wasn't trying to be somebody. It was just, no, this is who I am. This is where I come from, and this is how I'm blending. This is how I'm using all the aspects that I was influenced by,
Right.
and I felt that. I felt that from like when I was really young. So it's just cool. It's just really cool, and I always treasure and admire, especially other Puerto Rican artists in English market, because we're not really represented that much in it. We're mostly like you have to either speak Spanish or don't speak at all, just dance. And so they kind of just want you to fit you into like a certain type. They want to typecast you. I mean, so it's refreshing to me to see somebody like Lisa, who is a New Yorker. She was born and raised here, just like me, and she gets it. She gets it. I feel like she'd be somebody that gets it and understands even culturally where I fit, where I come from, and just finding those spaces where you feel like, okay, yeah, like this is really doable. This is
Right.
this.
What was your favorite Cult Jam song?
Woo, my favorite CultJam song. Oh my gosh.
So no, this is before
That
you joined the group. So I'm talking about like because they had some big
I know,
yes.
I know, I know. I would have been playing songs we have now. But My favorite. Oh, that's a really tough one because every time that they came out with songs, it was at different foundational stages in my life. So it's like when I was a kid in the 90s, it was like Let the Beat Hit 'Em was like my jam. Like in the summertime, it would come out. We go into the public pool, everyone got their boom boxes out and everything like that. And, you'd be hearing, show me love. You be hearing that, and then right after, let the beat hit 'em. It's like,
Oh,
oh yeah, it was just like so dope. I mean, it's really really hard. It's really hard to say, but oh
See,
my god.
in Nambe, you gotta understand when the I Wonder If I Take You Home came out, she was barely born yet.
No.
ah, ah, ah.
I I was just like, all right, my bottle.
Yeah,
So keep,
yeah, but I mean, because I'm going to come back and ask how you guys connected. But Alex, for you,
yeah.
when the group blew up, and I wonder if I Take You Home became a global hit, how was that transition for you? Was that how did you manage that success of traveling the world to countries you've never
Wow.
been before?
It was unbelievable to me. But I always looked at it as I was in a lucky situation and it was a great gig. This was a this is a great gig because I was used to, traveling with different bands and playing soca and calypso and reggae and R&B. So when I got to, when the group blew up, it was like, wow, this is the best gig, a great gig. That's how I looked at it.
Okay. I mean,
I
but
never
how?
let it totally go to my head.
Okay.
Alex is the money man. Alex is the
That's
money
right.
man. Show me the
That's right.
money.
Show me the money, goddammit.
But what about you, Mike? Did success get to you, or how did you manage that?
No, I mean, it's funny. I was just thinking about this the other day because I keep seeing these reports about actors and artists who seem to be destroyed by their success.
You're a flex driver.
Their whole life just gets destroyed. They're almost blaming
My
their
baby.
success for being destroyed, for their life being destroyed, and that makes no sense in the world. It makes no sense. If you're a mess before you got a success, then you're gonna be more of a mess when you get success. You know what I mean? And I was a young 21 year old who loved life, and was looking for adventure and the hits and the touring and the fame that just enhanced my love of life. You know what I mean? So, I just enjoyed every moment of it. I mean, I wish sometimes I could go back and relive some of it because it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I mean, and we when we talk, sometimes we gather with some of the old band members that played with us, back in the days, and we just talk about, all of us were in our early 20s, and it was just the most fun we had in our life, and it was nothing negative about it. It didn't destroy us. It didn't hurt us. You know what I mean? Because we lived it and loved it. Why would we let it destroy us?
Yeah.
We didn't get into drugs. We didn't let our life spiral into depression. You know what I mean? How could it? We're having the best time of having the best. You're lucky, like Alex said, you're lucky, and
Yeah.
and that some luck comes with it. It wasn't like we the most talented band in the world. We just had all the things line up in the right situation. Great song. The label cared about us and pushed us, and people liked what we had. So it's all the things lining up together, and it takes luck.
Yeah.
And we understood that and appreciated it and loved it through our whole time together as a band. And 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 even when that all ended for us, you know, we realized how lucky we were, and we just pivoted into what life is without that right now. You know what I mean? And that's what
Yeah.
do in life. It didn't destroy us. It didn't make us bad people. You know, we were good. We were good to people before then, because people had to like us to put us on. You know what I mean? People didn't think, oh, I hate that dude. I don't want to work with him. You know, people liked us. They're like, oh, he's a cool guy. Let's they like talking to us, like being with us. And then when that success happened, people like being with us and talking to us then, because we were the same people. We didn't change. We just had a little more money in our pocket, and we drove Porsches. But we were the same people. We were the same people, though. We were the same people, and we're the same people now. You know, at 60-something years old, we're the same people.
Well, that's, I guess, yeah, both you and Alex could say that. You know, you don't look 60 at all. But Alex, just how did you maintain with success and all that comes through? How did you make sure that your friendship with Mike didn't get affected?
My friendship with Mike?
Yeah, during the success and all, everything that's happened,
I mean, we butt heads like two brothers would do. So, it was like we were like brothers, We were around each other so much. We did pretty much everything together, like stepbrothers or something. I don't know. It was It was like that. It was like a new brother I had. A brother from another mother.
Right. I mean, wow. Sometimes we think about it. Our friendship is older than the band. You know what I mean? But we met before I put together the band. But we had common threads. You know what I mean? And we always have common threads. So we always have a good, a respectful relationship. We respect each other. And we love each other. I care for him. I mean, he is my brother. You know what I mean? You know, and so the respect and the love. You know what I mean? We understand how to deal with each other. You understand he's a Taurus. I'm a Leo. We understand.
We butt heads.
And we understand that.
Everything is good except for that $50 that motherfucker owed me. Just joking.
And it was the same with Lisa as well. She was our little sister. You know what I mean? Just like Mystina's
our little sister.
Mystina's our baby sister because she's a baby. She's our baby sister. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? We care about the people around us, and we want good things for them. And good things for them means good things for us as well. You know what I mean? So I would want always the best for these people. Because these are my people. These are people that I care about. That's my time in and want to be around, and hope that we can be touring and having fun and playing until the wheels fall off, until we can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So when the label drops after I think third or fourth album, what happens to the three of you at that point? Do you go your separate ways, or do you still tour? Or because I want to try and get into where you guys are now. So
yeah, right. I think the timeline is after that last album we did and Let the Beat Hit 'Em. We toured and we went to Europe and around America, and so there was a little friction. There was a little friction on the last album. That's why Columbia Records had CNC Music Factory produce half the album. Full Force did the other half, so it was a half and half production. And so CNC Music Factory actually produced and wrote Let the Beat Hit 'Em. And so you could tell things were changing at the label. And they were changing at the label because Tommy Mottola was putting a lot of time into this new girl that he loved named Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey became first and foremost for everything. You know what I mean? So everything around that started to fall apart. It's like, okay, you don't have time.
But first, Mike. But first was Martika. It was Martika first.
Right.
And then Mariah.
Right. Tommy was with Martika first. Right.
Right. And he was trying to move. They were trying to move her.
Mystina, do you remember Martika? She was Spanish.
I do not remember Martika.
You gotta look up
Soldiers.
Martika. Yeah.
Toy Soldiers. Toy Soldiers, the name of the
Toy
hit.
Soldiers.
Oh,
Toy Soldiers.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So Tommy Mottola had found her and was with her and was
Yeah,
trying to blow
yeah.
her up. And then that fell apart, and then he met Mariah Carey, and then
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna make Mariah Carey a star. So all these things were like, while he was trying to make stars of all these women that he was being with, he started putting everybody else aside, and that meant us too. So we were being pushed aside. So we were having contract problems with Columbia, and so it was like, you know, things are getting a little funky, and we were touring a lot, and Lisa was getting a little tired of touring. So, you know, all of that came to a head. And so the group took a hiatus in 92 after we toured with Let the Beat Hit. 92, the band took a hiatus, and we were actually supposed to get back together. And but then I think she got a lot of people in her ear, which happens. You know, people are like, oh, you don't need the guys, you don't need them, blah, 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 blah.
Donnie Ina.
And, Alex is naming people. So they were like, you don't need those guys. And that became the end. That really became the end of the group as the three of us. So that's how that ended.
So when she, I mean, and that's always the tough one when the lead singer sort of leaves. It's almost like, you know, I know BBD managed to find their feet and stuff, and other groups have done. But what did you and Alex then decide to do after Lisa parts?
We did a few things. We put together CultJam again with a male vocalist.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we said let's go with all male, all guys. You know, had enough of the females.
Yeah.
the women's hater club.
Right.
So CultJam became a group of guys, and we recorded some stuff, and you know, we played some shows and everything like that. But you know, like it needs to be a family, not just plugging in people. It needs to be a family. You need to feel the same way and think the same way. And so it didn't really work out with those guys. They weren't in the same mindset. So then that ended, and then me and Alex started just taking on other things, you know, because you got to survive. So Alex toured with Bobby Brown and did things like that. I went to Brazil and started playing with Brazilian musicians.
Joe,
to capoeira, DJing. Yeah, he toured with Joe and Bobby Brown and all these people. And over that time, there were a few almost reunions, you know, with Lisa. Occasionally, after a while, different things would come up, and they were like, okay, I want you guys to be together to do this. So then we would get together, and then we would talk reunion, and then it wouldn't happen. You know, then we filmed Unsung, which is a show. It was What Happened to Lisa and CultJam. So we filmed that show, and then that show was supposed to be a reunion after that. We're gonna talk together, and after we did that, again, it didn't happen. So after a few attempts, you know.
Oh, Mike, your mic went off.
Oh. Your mic.
It didn't happen. So finally, I think after the few attempts, we were like, okay, I don't think it's gonna happen anymore. But when COVID happened, that was it. That was the end. COVID happened. I realized how many musicians our age weren't in good shape, were dying because of COVID, and just, you know, were just letting their lives go. And I realized that, you know, me and Alex, man, we have too much talent. We're too young still. We have too much energy to let this fold, you know? So I said, we need to do it now. Now is the time to do it. So Alex was the one who sent me on the trail to Mystina, because they had played together with other bands.
Yeah. It was an African wedding.
Oh,
I remember Mystina, it was the African wedding in Harlem.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So pick it up, Mystina. What happened?
So what happened was that I heard through a mutual friend of ours between Alex and I. His name is Michelangelo,
Yeah.
and he was telling me that, oh, my boy Alex, he's looking for a female singer to do like this tribute thing to Lisa and CultJam. That's how he first explained it to me. And I think initially,
Yeah.
initially they were like, oh, we're gonna get like maybe 2 other girls, make it like a big thing, you know, because tribute acts, like everyone loves a tribute act over here on this side of the world. So, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And then it kind of more turned into like, well, do you write as well? Because Alex was like, show me some things that you wrote, and you know, show me some demos and everything like that. So I was sending him a lot of stuff that I was doing with my other band that I have called Karma's Tea. That's with my husband. And like it was more like on the R&B jazzy kind of thing. So I was like showing Alex all that stuff and everything, and they're like, all right, well, let's see if like you know, you could write to this. So, you know, they were like, they already had some tracks that they already did, and they would just kind of send it to me, and just to see like where I'm at, where my style is. And I guess it just fit really perfectly with what they envisioned. You know, so they're like, yeah. But I think really the big thing was when Mike came to a show that I was doing as Karma's Tea in Long Island, and he saw my energy, saw how I worked the crowd and everything like that, and he's like, oh no, like this is the person that we definitely need. So that's
Before I go, because I have to go. Before I go, that was it. I went to see her, and her energy was, I mean, she just blew up the stage. You know what I mean? She just sparkled.
But Mike, you told me something else when you was there.
What?
I'm joking.
She just sparkled. She had that energy, you know. And I saw it as I was watching her perform with that band. I'm seeing her performing with us in my head. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great fit. I knew it. And I knew it'd be a great fit. And it's been wonderful ever since. Guys, I'm gonna have to run. You guys keep talking. It was great meeting you, man.
Okay, no problem, Mike.
Great meeting you. You guys keep it going. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, Mike. So,
yeah.
Mike has left the room.
He's left the room. Yeah.
So let's talk now. Let's talk about Mike. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the reality was that, you know, I had double D's, so that's how, you know, the reality.
That's what he said to me. I'm joking. He didn't say that.
But then, did you, Alex? Did you tell her that you were thinking about reforming CultJam and you know, for Mystina to be the lead singer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had after the initial phone call, and she was kind of interested. I said, we'll have a Zoom call with me. I'll introduce her to Mike, and we'll talk the whole thing through. You know, you remember that, right, Mystina?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that's what we did. We sat there and, you know, and talked it through and figure out what songs we're going to start with, and, you know, all that stuff.
Yep.
So Mystina, what made you then decide to join CultJam as opposed to the group that you're with?
Well, I still do my stuff with Karma's Tea, and because it's a different vibe that you know, put out aside from CultJam and everything like that, you know, and that's our different project that my partner and I share. But what made me decide that, always, like I said, I've always naturally kind of, their style was always my style. Like their sense of attitude and their approach to music was always my approach to music growing up, and how I heard things. You know, I just feel like it's a natural fit. That's what I feel. I feel like it's a natural fit, and it's just amazing to me how everything is like comes full circle in a way. It's kind of strange, because I always say this. My first vinyl ever was Head to Toe. That was my first vinyl. That
Wow.
I remember, and because of the way that I hear music, I hear details, a lot of details, even the smallest sounds in the back. I hear that, and they stick out to me all the time. So, sometimes even when we're rehearsing, I'm like, oh yeah, that lick was in this part of the song. Oh my gosh, like it's just really cool. But yeah, so everything to me, I just felt like it was a no-brainer because it's spiritually it just feeds me.
Yeah. Oh, what's the plan now? I mean, with the group, because I know it's one thing to tour off of the hits, but what is the sort of the plan when it comes to how to introduce yourself to the audience and the fans?
Uh, I mean, just try to get more airtime with different podcasts and videos and maybe interviews and, try to get, 'cause, some people probably forgot that we're forgotten part of the group. So we got to remind people we're still around, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like Mike said earlier, we're treated as a new group. So it's like we kind of have to have that approach in a way. Like the history is the bonus. The history of Cult Jam is like the bonus part of it, but for the most part we do have to present ourselves because we also have to hone in the next generation of music fans who want to get into like what we do and all that kind of stuff. So it's it's a journey trying to find the right I don't know, the right vibe to approach it, because
Yeah.
it's a mess out
The
there.
music business now is so crazy. It is.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
But what about
It,
I mean, because I've heard some of the new tracks, and I actually do like What Love Can Do. I love the sort of the vibe. It almost feels as if you weren't looking to. It almost looks like you were trying to stay within a tempo that actually is what most Cult Jam fans would remember. Um, was the whose idea and plan was to say let's just try and make new music instead of.
Mike gave me Mike said he had this idea and he gave me a beat that he did on his drum machine. And I said we should put something really melodic on it. And I got the inspiration from a Stevie Wonder song. And I started fumbling around with some chords and I put together that, main part of What's Love Got to Do. I was thinking about Send One Your Love. Send one your love, bo bo, baby da bo dee da, bo bo, dee da da bo dee da. Remember that one?
No.
Okay. Anyway, I was thinking about that song. I said I want to do something like that, and
Okay.
I came up with the song, the idea, and he liked it. I liked it, and we went with it. And then I put a bridge on it, and then Mystina put her magic on it, and that was it.
But did you guys decide we need to probably start making new music instead of and and is it the idea of putting this is it an album or an EP that you're looking to put together?
Yes, I think it's released already, right,
Yeah,
Mystina?
the album is out.
Yeah.
Like when did we decide to be like we're gonna do this album?
Okay. So when it's so I guess
because
go ahead.
yeah, because like we were just recording, like we kept recording different songs, seeing what works,
Mm,
and all of that, and eventually it became the album. I mean, this was like a
Okay.
year recording, right? Year of just making different songs, and we just released them as singles. We were kind of trickling them out as singles, but now the whole album is fully
Yeah.
released. Yeah.
wow, goodness. And how are you guys supporting it? Have you been with promoters saying, "Oh, you guys are back, let's put you on," or How tough has that been?
Mike has been working on all of that more than myself, and Mystina with social media. I'm done with social media. They're the social media kings and queens.
His ability in social media is showing us what's on social media.
Yeah. I send videos. I laugh or send videos.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what he does.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
But Mike, he controls basically like most of the CultJam social media and stuff. And I don't really have access to those, so I try with my own account. I'll like do a like tag or collaborate and stuff like that to see if I could get the followers that I have in addition to the followers that CultJam has and everything like that. But it's still like, marketing on the internet, that's just a crazy jungle. It really is, because you don't know when they're changing the algorithms. They can change it daily.
yeah,
Nobody knows, like what worked one day might not work the next day. It's like,
yeah.
that's why you're needed. That's why mental health professionals are needed, because we're going crazy right now.
No, but I guess I was just trying, because it is a tough business out there, because back in the day when labels could control artists and the music, it meant that you got to the audience. Now that everyone can release music and reach everyone, it means that there's a lot of competition, so it becomes tough to filter through. And I guess because the decision of 40 years ago to put Lisa's name and CultJam means that she can benefit off of that when it comes to shows and gigs. And I wonder how that's a challenge of trying to reintroduce CultJam, because Lisa is doing shows as well. But how do you see that as separate and think, what, good luck to her, but we're going to try and carve our own market, or does it become a challenge?
It definitely becomes a challenge, because dealing with certain promoters, they're already promoting, working with Lisa. So it's like, why would I want CultJam when I got Lisa, and we got to get some more people to believe in us, and maybe I know Lisa's price is kind of high, so maybe we have to undercut her to get certain shows, and or get some people to believe in that we have a good show too.
Met Lisa?
No, unfortunately, I haven't. I mean, she's very much secured by her promoter and people that manage her. So
personal manager.
yeah, so it's very hard. Like, I've always wanted to meet her and everything like that, and I felt like I almost had the opportunity, because in New York we do the Puerto Rican Day Parade every year in June. And I was on a float this year from PR Wepa. Thank you. And Lisa was madrina, which is godmother of the event. So I was like, oh, that would be like amazing. I'll be like, I'm your goddaughter, whatever, like something stupid. I just wanted to see her and everything like that. And, she has a single out that she just re-released. And I was like, man, that would be so
all
cool.
cried out.
Yeah, all cried out. But, like, it is what it is. Her manager invited Alex and Mike, but that did not extend to me. So, so sad too.
Yeah. So, Mystina, I guess if we were to see a CultJam show, what should we expect?
If you were to see you can definitely expect a lot of energy. Fun. It's really a lot of fun. Such showmanship, great musicians, great songs. I mean, like you go to a show and people they just get into it. The audience, it just resonates so well with the audience. Even if it's a lounge spot where they don't even make room for a dance floor, but even if it's a lounge spot, they'll be in their seats like, oh my God, you know, and wishing that they could dance to it and everything like that, you know, and you might see a few splits here and there, who knows?
He said slips or splits? Splits.
Splits.
Not slips. We don't need any wardrobe malfunction. Okay?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Because you said you talk about rehearsing. So when you're rehearsing, are you focused on being as live music, or because I know there's a lot of backing tracks and singers come out and sing to a backing track. So how do you manage that? Because you got musicians in the group, but promoters say, look, we're trying to save money, we just play a backing track. So how do you guys balance that?
Well, I mean, at the time it came where they just want us to come in and do 20 minutes. And, you know, more than likely we wouldn't take a band because it's like, you know, but if it's like a real show where they want, you know, a real show, we want to put on a good show, and nothing like a live show. I mean, tracks and two dances dancing around, it's all right, but nothing like a live band and a live show. Nothing going to beat that.
Yeah.
So we would always opt for playing live, or even if it's semi-live, you know, even if we're doing both. But we would always opt to play live because it'll just be better.
Okay. So just because I've kept you guys for a while, so Mystina, I guess you could, if people are trying to follow you guys on social media and also trying to get to hear the new album, how can they find you guys?
They can find us on Instagram at CultJam Love. We're also on Facebook. They can type in CultJam Love, facebook.com/CultJam Love. And our website, cultjammusic.com. But CultJam Love is the current name of our album. And so they can find us in those places, and you know, all that good stuff.
Okay. And then also are there any current plans, any shows that people can look out for?
That is we just did a few shows this past couple of months, but that's in the works for sure. So definitely we're gonna be rolling out some more shows probably in the coming fall season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where can we get the album that's out?
Oh man, you can get that album anywhere. Go to Spotify, your favorite platform: Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Apple Music.
Not Walmart though.
Not Walmart, no.
Oh, no physical copies, yeah.
And of course, if you're a YouTube subscriber, you could also listen on YouTube. It's all that. I believe it or not, I listen to most of my music through YouTube because you know, I don't know, because I'm always looking. You know, I'm a musician. I'm a working musician too, so I got to listen to songs on the way to shows, and I'll be turning on YouTube because YouTube is the only place where they got the B-sides. People uploading the B-sides. So that's sometimes what I get, you know, requested. So I got it, whatever.
Yeah, that seems to be the where most people that watch my channel seem to listen on YouTube.
Right.
So I always ask my guests just before we end if they had an opportunity to watch their all-time favorite movie just to kill time. What's your movie that you would? I can start with you, Mystina. What's your all-time favorite movie that you probably tend to watch?
All-time favorite movie. Wow.
All-time favorite movie. I would have to say that I'm such a girl that it is Titanic. I
Okay.
am.
Oh,
I know. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Would
Oh,
you
child, let go.
would you make room on the plank, or would you just let him freeze in his?
I would have
ah,
made room on the plank. I would have made room. I really would have because I'm like, I I need I need to have I want to have sex with Jack. You know? I would have made room on the plank.
Okay. Okay. Alex, what
so
about you? What's your all-time favorite?
it's a toss-up. I guess Debbie Does Dallas, maybe, or Deep Throat. No, I'm joking. My all-time favorite movie would probably be it's three I got in my head. Is Scarface, Goodfellas, and maybe Dead Presidents. I gotta go with Scarface.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Scarface.
I probably would have
I
gone
mean,
with
it's a
good.
little different from the Titanic.
Yeah. I'm probably a bigger fan of the Goodfellas. Yeah, it's that was
I love Goodfellas. I mean,
yeah.
it's hard. That's a hard one to pick one. And I
Yeah.
love the first Terminator too.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
You know, so it's my
Yeah.
favorite movies. You know,
that's a
I
good
have a
one.
bunch of them.
Yeah. And then finally, then, Mr. Favorite song, all-time favorite song by any song.
Oh man, that's always a hard question,
Ooh, that's a hard one.
musicians. But because I am such a girly girl, a romantic at heart,
Uh-oh,
I'm gonna
uh-oh.
say "Lady in My Life"
Don't
by
tell me it's
Michael.
the Barbie song. Okay.
"Lady in My Life," Michael Jackson.
Wow.
I feel
Wow.
like it's such a
Wow.
raw, like he's giving his raw emotion in that song.
Wow. So that's my all-time favorite song. And because
What?
yeah, that's my all-time favorite song. So I probably had about almost 200 interviews, and let me see who's answered that. So Donnell Jones, that was his favorite. Then Pamela Long from Total.
What?
So there's a few of us who would pick up that song. So that's yeah, that is yeah, all-time favorite. So in fact, because I have an all-time favorite, that's why I used to have to ask all my guests. Yes, it is Michael at his best. I wish he had made more. The closest he came with a
Yeah.
sequel was Heaven Can Wait was as closest he tried to emulate when because yeah, that was
Yes.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that
That
yes.
was yep.
Yes. Alex, what
Alex,
about
what's
yeah?
yours?
I'm an old school dude. I mean, I like Michael Jackson songs and stuff, but there's always a song I always loved, and it's a weird one, but I Only Have Eyes for You.
By
Is that
who?
What's the group? Flamingos? It's the Flamingos. It's an old
okay.
song.
Yeah, I know that. I
Wow.
only have okay.
And they played it in Bronx Tale with Robert De Niro. Bronx Tale, they played it in that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I
Wow.
only have eyes for you. Yeah, that song.
Oh, that's a beautiful song, though.
No,
I
definitely
love that
is.
song. The original. Yeah.
Okay. It does sound like a typical
So
New York
I'm
kind of song.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
It does.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been great having you guys. And I think what I'll probably look to do probably later in the year would be to get have you guys back, but live. So what I mean live is that the audience are watching live, and so they can ask questions, and but also for them maybe an opportunity for you guys to showcase one or two of your songs, just so that they can really understand
Okay.
and see showcase that you guys are, not just that you're back, but you've come with new sound and a new energy.
Hmm.
Yes, because it's just been really
No,
fascinating just to be
And
able to go ahead.
where are you? Where are you? From Liverpool or London or where?
Well, yeah, I was born and raised in Liverpool, but I live probably about
I'm
an
saying right
hour.
now.
Oh,
Where
right
you're at
now, no, I
now?
live in a place called Kent, which is about an hour and a half south of London.
Oh, okay. Is that that area with all those prisons and stuff like that?
No, Kent is Kent
I'm
is
messing with you, man. I'm messing with you.
okay. No, Kent.
I'll keep you safe from Alex, okay?
Yeah, no, yeah, just an hour and a half outside of London. It's
Okay.
like yeah, but believe it or not, I lived and went to college in the US. I lived in Alabama, Selma
Oh,
for a number of years. Then went to
oh, okay.
college in yeah, Selma, Alabama. Yeah, yeah. So I
Went
worked on
into
a
That's
like
my That's where my father's from, Alabama. He's from
okay.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa. Okay,
went
yeah.
into one of the worst.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, when I moved to the Selma in '92, and the mayor of Selma was the mayor back in '66 when they didn't let them. Yeah, so he was still mayor
Hey!
when I moved out there. So yeah, yeah, he was still the mayor. Yeah, and then
Wow.
I went to college in Milwaukee, and then I lived and worked in Los Angeles. So I was out there for a good 10 plus years before moving back to the UK. But yeah. But it's but as I said, from what I started off by saying and by trying to understand the culture dynamics of the group, it's really fascinating, and I think that's probably a unique element of you guys that probably should be really celebrated, the diversity of your group, not just the music and not just the history. So it would definitely be something that we'll reach out to you guys again and say, okay, you know what, when we go live, this will probably come out in a couple of weeks, but when we do go live,
Okay.
it will come out in little chunks, different episodes and stuff. But when we do go live, it'll be great so that people could ask questions and be able to
Okay.
showcase to see you guys and see what you guys are really doing and up to right now.
I
But
look forward to it.
yes,
Yep.
but definitely appreciate your time. And I know that Alex, better late than never, but
Sorry about that. Sorry
that
about that.
is
I got
that is
trapped up.
good. Yeah, no, it's good. It's fine. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between
us for even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, okay.
They don't understand what Jonas' voice meant.